Hi guys, welcome back to episode number 2, and I'm so excited to bring you guys this entire series. Our first guest is Rohit Batra, as you guys might have heard in our previous episode. He is the founder of Sur in Seattle, a team that composes really cool original music. My goal here is to spread awareness about independent music, and I request you guys to please support your local musicians, support independent artists, and give us more and more opportunity to bring you guys really cool music. So stay tuned. We have more episodes coming along the way. Today is episode number 2. I think what's crucial being an artist is respect for another artist.
Absolutely.
That mutual respect is why we are here. That mutual respect is why why I called you guys to be the dream team. As you know, I have a toddler, and leaving her here, driving up to Seattle and working with you guys, I was literally on the clock. And you guys made my entire experience really like flawless.
All credit for all of that goes to George. I'm the most scatterbrained person in the world. I normally have so many things going on in my head, and George is just so organized. I am completely disorganized. So George helps me keep on track with everything, and he's just been such a blessing. And I was working with different people trying to find how to produce my own music, and then I met George, and it was just like the right time. I was actually in New Orleans. I had gone to Preservation Hall, which is a beautiful very intimate jazz concert place, where you go and listen to Grammy-winning musicians come out and play jazz. And I finished it, and I went out, and I saw on my phone somebody had tagged George on one of my posts. Saying that, oh, George runs a studio. And that moment I was like, you know what, this is the right time. I need to get in touch with George, and the rest is history. But he is the one who organizes everything, so I will not take credit for that.
But this is like when the right people come together, that's when the dream team forms. So I just hope we get opportunity to work together, because I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
Working with yourself was a lot of fun. I was actually very skeptical in the beginning. I was like, oh, how is she going to come all the way from Portland? This is going to be tough, especially with COVID, which is why I wanted to make sure everything was, organized. You had the time to come in, and, everything was set up nicely. But thank you so much for coming all the way. Hopefully next time we work, there won't be that many restrictions, and we'll be able to jam together and take some more time.
Hopefully. I'm glad that the vocal recording part was managed here, and then the video recording happened there. How that whole montage came together, because video shots were tailored later on. They were shot individually and then tailored later on.
Actually, the funny thing is, when we first made the video, we didn't have borders around people, right?
Yeah.
And then said, oh, looks like you are all together. I'm like, no, that's not it. We shot it. So I made frames so that you could see everybody separately. But I'll tell you, more than the video, the audio was extremely difficult to do. But that is, under better circumstances, if COVID wasn't around, I would have had all of you come together. What happens when you're singing together, there's just, it's easier to follow along. This time what happened is all 6 of you sang separately. You sent your stuff from home, actually, from Portland.
Yes.
Everybody else came one-on-one and did a session. And then when we finally matched everybody was off every half second. It's not off. It's just like when you say Awaaz, your A comes a little late. Sheetal's comes a little early.
Yes.
In the middle. So we had to chop up, not we, George, God bless him.
God bless him.
entire song like 2 by 2 seconds, the whole song, to drag everybody so that you could be lined up together. And the amount of work that he did on Awaaz, the vocals, is probably 10 times more than we would have done on any other song. So
I can imagine.
I don't think people understand how painful the process of music production is.
It is.
It's, my son, he's 13. He wanted to go to the studio with me one time, and he was all excited, oh, I'll go to the studio. And we went to the studio. We're working on one guitar piece for 2 hours. And at the end of it, he's like, this is so boring. And this doesn't automatically happen.
Yeah.
Us, between the work that you guys did, the work that the video crew did, the work that we did on the only the production, not the composition, it was probably 60 to 80 hours of work for a
That's
3 minute, 4 minute song. That's a
yeah,
lot of repetition, that's a lot of fine tuning.
yeah.
Not as glamorous as people think it is.
No, I'm sure that might have been a challenge of convincing people, like, it's okay, we are going to take care of the whole, like, sanitization part, because coronavirus is pretty intimidating,
It absolutely is. The first thing I sat down and thought, do I really want to do this? Like, do I want to take on such a big challenge in the middle of the pandemic? And then when I was convinced, the good thing is George's studio, the way it's set up, there's so much space that anybody who's been there at Bird Studios knows that it's fine.
Yeah.
It was only the singers like yourself that hadn't worked with me before that were a little more worried. So like it was helpful to have a couple of folks that had been there.
Yeah.
Also in the group that could help convince like, no, it'll be okay. But we went above and beyond. I think we bought new pop filters for everybody. We opened the windows and ventilated the entire studio half an hour before everybody came.
Yeah.
But I'm just still thankful that I was able to convince everybody.
Yeah.
आज है हम यहाँ कल कहाँ क्या पता जानता है मगर मानना दिल मेरा हम रहे या नहीं है हमको यकीन तुम कहीं भी चले जाओ तुमको मेरी याद आएगी मेरी आवाज तेरे साथ चली जाएगी.
Honestly, the bigger concern for me was because it's a 3 minute song. There's a minute of rap in the middle, and then there's 6 vocalists, and it's really hard to kind of like get everybody a little moment in there. So I was just thankful that everybody was still on board. For somebody like for Yogeshji, he didn't have to do it. He was just so pleasant, in Kunal, and everybody was just like, oh yeah, on board completely. That has a little bit to do with the fact that the body of work that I have before, you can see it, then it gives people the conviction that nahi acha hi hoga. My background here, at least, I was a DJ. I was a DJ for years. Years and years.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I went by DJ RDX. I DJ'd a total of like 17 years, but in Seattle, I DJ'd 10 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because I needed something creative to do, and believe it or not, DJing is actually very creative if you do it well.
Yeah.
So, but when I said, okay, I want to make music, everybody was expecting ye to DJ hai, ye to kuch dik banayega, right?
Yeah.
To convince people to want to work with me was such a problem. Like it was so difficult to get people on board. But once we started, and I have to give Gitesh kudos. Gitesh was on board the moment I talked to him. I said, hey, I want to do an original, and he was like, okay, boss, let's do it. He's that sort of impulsive genius guy. that thing. And once I think we made Akhiyan, by the third song, that's when it became easier. When I approached somebody, they were usually like, I haven't had anybody have any reservations about. Because see, the problem is, you understand, is when you make a song, मैं आपको गा के सुना दूंगा, but you don't know my vision for what it's going to end up like. Even when I said you guys Awaaz, I don't think you guys knew where I was going with it. I said बीच में rap होगा, everybody got scared कि rap कहाँ से आ गया.
Yeah.
But for me to be able to explain what it will sound like in the end is very difficult. So at this point, I feel like I'm just at the point where I say, listen, it's a ballad, but trust me, it will be good.
Yeah.
And I have the faith of the singers or the musicians to work with me because I know where we're going.
Yeah.
It's just that, and then I'm very careful about when do I bring the singers into the creative process. Because अगर मेरे दिमाग में ही clear picture नहीं है, then you will also be confused, and I will also be confused. So I work a lot. I have the entire finished project. When we started Awaaz, by the time I had contacted you guys, I knew exactly what the finished product would be.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that much clarity of what you want to do, it makes the process very much more difficult.
I'm sure in the initial part of your journey, and I'm talking about this whole creative journey, including your DJing years, there might have been times where you would be like, "Arey, uh, I just want to just stop doing what I'm doing. It's not paying enough. It's not fruitful enough. Is it worth it? Am I good enough?" कभी ऐसा ख्याल आया?
Absolutely. I
Yeah,
truly believe, Asmita, that an artist is an equal combination of self belief and self doubt. Every artist I know is an equal. Actually, it's really funny. I talked about this with Pankaj Kapoor sir was here to do a play a few years ago, and we had dinner together and we were talking about it. And he also agreed. He said this exact same thing. He's like, to this day, and Pankaj Kapoor is like
yeah,
the encyclopedia on acting. He said, to this day, when I go on stage, I'm nervous. And it is important to have that nervousness, because when the nervousness goes away, then your self-belief turns into ego. So I have had doubts throughout, even as late as last week. I'm sitting there thinking, "Arey, what's the point?" But I think the one thing that helped me is understanding why I'm doing what I'm doing. Because if you are doing if you're creating to get accepted or creating to get famous,
yeah,
fine, that's a good goal to have, but
yeah,
for me, it's not the right reason. you
yeah,
know if I go to the studio, something that people find tedious, I can be there every day for 7, 8, 10, 12, 15 hours and be happy, because it makes me happy to be in that setting, work with artists like yourself. That's what makes me happy. So some people play video games, some people watch movies, some people do something else. I make music. So as we talked in the beginning, the goal is not to become famous. It's not like I'm allergic to
yeah,
make,
yeah,
but the goal is not that. The goal is to do good work.
yeah, yeah,
What I find good, and this is something I learned during DJing. I tell you, I was one of those very obstinate DJs that I would not take requests at all, because I found out over 10, 12 years that people don't know what they want. And
yeah,
if you listen to everybody, you'll never be able to do what you want. So
yeah,
मेरे जो पहले उस्ताद थे फतेह मोहम्मद खान साहब, when I started learning music, he used to say कि बेटा गाओ खुद के लिए, क्योंकि अगर तुम्हें नहीं पसंद आएगा तो किसी को भी पसंद नहीं आएगा. If you are a singer or a musician and you like making music,
yeah,
then do it for that reason.
right, right.
Frustration तो आती जाती रहती है, वो तो रोज का
वो corporate life में भी आती है. It is not that only music gives me this love and hate. I'm sure everybody who goes through this corporate like churn. हर साल day off season आता है and whatnot. It's not a bed of roses all the time. You need to go through the grind to achieve something there as well. So likewise, in music, in any art form, you go through that. But I think with the beauty of music and any performing artist, you kind of involved and create your own audience. How are you enjoying the fact that you have your like audience of your own now?
If I do, I need to pay more close attention to the comments and everything. I try to stay away from it as much as I can. I still think we're all in the same boat, honestly. The views these days are pointless online.
Yeah.
My real worry to me is like, if somebody somewhere is, like you said, they're humming my song, or if the song is stuck in their head, or they're like, they're if listening to it helps them emotionally, however it may.
Yeah.
That's the thing that really like touches me. When I get comments like, I was having a bad day and I heard your song and it picked me up. That's a great compliment.
Yeah.
But when you get compliments from like random people, just like random people saying, I've been listening to this all day.
Yeah.
My kid loves jumping around on Uptown or something. That makes me happy, because I feel like I'm giving somebody some happiness.
Pandemic has put a pause on us, and person like me, I'm very restless. I need to keep doing something. So abhi music nahi kar rahi hu, I want to talk to you. I want to share this with the world. And I was talking to you last week when our song got released, and I was like, Rohit, you know what? I know the song got released. I'm super excited, but guess what? There is wildfire here, and maybe
Yeah.
we'll need to evacuate. One after other, there is something that is pulling us back, just asking us to like calm down and relax and pause. uh, when times like this comes, what is your advice? What do you do? Like, do you meditate? Do you?
No, not really. I mean, for me, music in itself is meditation. I listen to a lot of music, but I listen to a lot of music, so that's my therapy. When I create something that I feel people should hear, that becomes the driving force behind. Then all the other stuff is background noise.
Yeah.
Your goal is very clear to you that this is how you want to make it, and then everything else, तो वो तो life चलता रहता है.